Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 339, and today we're going to be doing battle in a Ruthless Rumble. And so, this is the first Ruthless Rumble in the Legends of Runeterra. This is a slightly bigger daily Rumble. It's got a bigger buy-in attached to the event, and it should be a little bit longer given that it's the standard best of 3 format instead of playing best of 1. And so, I'm excited to jump in. This should hopefully be a good bit of practice before we come in and play the Mastering Runeterra Open here in a couple of days, and then the Riot Runeterra Open will be in about 10 days or so. And so it's nice to be able to get a little bit of best of 3 practice before those events roll around. And so we're going to be bringing the triple Demacia lineup you see on your screen. This is the Jarvan Udyr deck that we ran into Masters with, and we featured 2 videos ago. We're going to be playing Quinn Gwen, the Opulent Foyer Scouts deck. That is the deck we featured in the previous video. And then we're also going to be playing Aatrox Vayne. And so the kind of ideas with these decks is they tend to be pretty good against the aggro end of the spectrum. We have lots of early game interactivity. We have lots of early game challengers and strikes. And then we also tend to do pretty well against the control decks of the format. The removal as it runs right now is pretty terrible. There's a lot of Mystic Shot and heavy metal based removal running around, and our units tend to just be big enough to survive that kind of thing. And so, with this lineup, I feel like we're in a pretty good space if we play against people trying to bring 3 aggro decks. We're pretty good if we're in the space against people bringing 3 control decks, and then we should also hopefully be pretty good in that space if people are bringing a balanced lineup. So, say you have a aggressive Samira deck and a Jack set, and then something like a Ashe LeBlanc there in the middle. And so the places where the idea of a deck like this are kind of weak are in that middle space, that mid-rangey space. If the opponent brings a lot of decks like Ashe LeBlanc or Samira Leona, we tend to struggle a little bit given that their game plan is to be about the same speed as us, but their units are a little bit bigger, and it can be a little bit challenging to deal with. And so to pull up some of the matchups on these decks, this should kind of show it at an overall level. The Gwen Quinn and the Aatrox Vayne are showable on here, but since nobody plays Udyr but me, we don't have great statistics on that one. And so, as you can kind of see, Fizz Samira and Karma Set are currently the most popular decks in the format right now. I would suspect that those are going to be the cornerstones of a lot of decks in the meta, and we should have pretty decent matchups across the board against those. And so, I don't suspect we're going to see too much triple control, too much triple aggro. I think people are going to just go back to the kind of 3 good decks theme. And so I would suspect a lot of people are going to bring one of these 2 decks paired off with Ashe LeBlanc. I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption to make in this format, and I think we should be able to handle those lineups pretty well. As you move down the list a little bit, you start to get into that bad space, right? That's where the bad man lives. And the triangle of matchups for us, this Ashe LeBlanc, Quinn Gwen, and Leona Samira space are pretty bad. The Leona Samira one is the one I feel like is the most winnable, and so we will look to ban out Ashe LeBlanc if it turns up. If Ashe LeBlanc isn't here, we'll fall back to that Leona deck. If Leona isn't there, then we can kind of pick and choose where we go. But the remainder of the decks from that point on aren't that terrible. We don't have too many of these spaces to where all of our decks really get trucked by a singular a deck. You know, you can look through here and there's a little bit of green, a little bit of red, or a little bit of red, a little bit of green, but there's nothing too bad across the board to where there's anything that should really cause us a ton of harm. We're really just worried about this space up here of Ashe LeBlanc and Leona Samira. And so to talk about the decks just a little bit, up first we have Jarvan Udyr. This is the deck that we just finished off our Masters Climb with. I've been exceptionally happy with this. The video came out, I believe, 2 videos ago, and it's just got a lot of great elements to it. A lot of early game interactivity with the challengers. It's got the 6 strikes, so we can have some non-combat based removal. The strikes then tie into working with Udyr. And then we have the concept of overwhelms, rallies, or elusives, all baked into the deck, with the rallies coming from Tiana, the scout kind of thing coming from the King Jarvan, and then the overwhelms that can come from the stance swaps and the combat cook. So all in all, pretty happy with this one, but having quite a bit of success with it. Up next is our Quinn Gwen. We featured this in the previous video, and this is a pretty straightforward and standard list. We don't have anything too crazy going on with this one. We're playing the full Hallowed package along with the 2 Green Fang Wardens and the full set of Cataclysms and the full set of Relentless Pursuits. I really like being able to abuse the control decks with the maximum power out of Opulent Foyer, and that's what we're looking to take advantage of here with this one. Last but not least, we have the Aatrox Vayne. Can't play Quinn in this one since we're playing Quinn paired off with Gwen, and so we've essentially just removed her from the deck and added in the Night Ranger Defector. I'm trying to think of who kind of popularized this list because it's not the one that you most commonly see. I think it was Stay Woke, but I'm not entirely certain that's who I stole the initial kind of idea of the list from. But this isn't so much focusing in on putting Aatrox down on the board as much as it is more of a challenger's deck with the harps in it. And so as you look at a deck like this, I don't want you to think that the big idea that we're trying to pull off with this one is really dumpstering down Aatrox quickly and getting the World Ender going. The idea with this one is more so taking advantage of the challengers along with the Darkened Harp. And then it also has that kind of big unit factor to it that I really like in this format. With the Harpies, the Badger Bears, and the Combat Cooks, having that 4 health is exceptionally important to come out and survive a lot of the removal spells. So that's the lineup. Those are the decks. You know what we got to do before the battles begin. We got to go and pay the pay-to-win price. And I was pretty excited about this one. I've been having loads of fun with the Darkened Spear and the Anaka. We got this across 2 of our decks in the format right now, and getting to use the Anaka in premium mode should come forth and bring us some wins. And so I'm excited for this. I hope you are too. Go ahead and jump on into battle. All right, and off we go, jumping in. Gotta spend the 500 coins on this one. I'm curious the number of people that have actually been able to put together the Rumble token at this point, but I haven't been able to. I did a few of the daily tournaments as the patch began, but I've definitely fallen behind a little bit. It's tough to remember that you're supposed to go out there and do those things, and so. We'll try our best. But nonetheless, right before we drop in, I do want to say one more time, I've got a new headset, a little bit of a new setup. If the sound is messed up or whatever, please let me know. I've been trying to adjust it a little bit, and your feedback helps quite a bit. And so hopefully we're getting close to where it used to be there. But all right, let's jump on in, cue it on up. See who's out here ready to battle. I'm curious how long all this stuff takes. Like, it's one of those things as to where, it strikes me as something that that could be expensive, but then I'm just like, yeah, it's just like $5. I don't know, and so I don't feel like it's very cost prohibitive to jump in. But this guy's lineup, this is like the actual worst thing that we could have happen to us, and so I'm kind of glad we get it here right at the start. We're of course going to ban out the Ash LeBlanc deck, but again, we kind of pointed out that little range of decks that we that little range of decks that we don't want to play against, and then this guy just came out and brought all 3. And so let's see how we can do. Let's see if we can turn the tables here a little bit. All right, but this start's no good. Need to find us some early game plays. Little bit better, a little bit better. It's an interesting space when you come out and pick up these 1-drops. Since he's put a 1-drop, I'll put ours down to match. I'd like to trade for this pigeon if we can. But you'll run into a lot of turns to where you want to spend 2 mana and then 2 mana and then 2 mana, and you can't do that if you're counting on the Fleet Feather Tracker to get you somewhere. And so, right, as we roll into this next turn, we'll only have 3 mana, so we can't quite do as much to the board. Oh, Cascade's fine. He didn't get any bonus card draw off of that one, so it was essentially just trading 1 mana for 2, and he's down 2 Daybreaks at this point, so about as good of a start as we could hope for. All right, we got a couple of options here. We can bring in the Badger Bear, or we can load up the Broadwing. I think we just want to bring in the Badger Bear. I'm pretty okay at this point to just kill off his whole board if he wants to come in and attack. So. We'll get the stats down. He doesn't want a party. Excellent. So no Leona's coming in this turn. I'd like to get the Aegius down. He really he really kind of sucks on the defensive here, and so it gives us a chance to jump ahead and then also start to bank up the mana. We're gonna find ourselves getting into this point now to where it's like we want to play Udyr on 5 and Jarvan on 6 and King Jarvan on 7, and just having this 2 mana banked up now gives us the opportunity to play units the rest of the way through. And so we'll see if that's the way that this is able to come together. Uh-oh. Bust bringing all them big units at me. A mite? Oh shit, he's got mites everywhere. Tan everywhere, Jan everywhere. I guess the mite everywhere as well. And so, I mean, do we even care about this? I don't think so. These units that we have aren't that great at this point, and it's like, as opponents gonna start playing like Ravun and Leona and stuff, I'm not super worried about, you know, keeping a 1 health unit sitting around on the board. There's that Ravun. What you gonna do, Combat Cook? I like the Fix him 5000 here. It's tough for us to actually get to get combats to where the scout's relevant, and having the unit that can take down Ravun can be quite important. There is an argument to just go ahead and try and single combat him down. Not going to go that deep here, but I definitely understand that line of thought. Might look to switch it up here just a little bit, though. If we get this chance to say, like say he plays Leona, then we get to combat Cook into the Ravun, and then after that, replay the equipment down onto the Jarvan. That's not a bad turn. I think we can go ahead and just start trying doing this. I'd like the Ravun to go away. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, you got the you got that big quick attack challenger out there, Bust. I don't know if I like that. Don't know if I like that. Alright. Shouldn't be able to play any cards here, right? With the Jarvan ability taking away or adding the +2 mana to his spells. I dig it. Stuff's rolling. We got this nice curve. We'll play Jarvan. He'll bring up the sun next turn. Lil Jarvan on his way. That'll have us with the 2 mana bank, and then on our opponent's next turn we can play Tiana. Pretty happy with how all this is curving out. Comes. Not a bad board. Nobody respecting the family, man. Nobody respecting the Udyr leaving the deck up. People saying, Bust, you're out here memeing. You're out here memeing with the Udyr. And you say, no, sir. No, sir, I'm not memeing today. Watch this. He's not gonna enjoy this. Lol. Oh shit, he's still battling though. He says, I ain't giving up. I ain't giving up, my man. Alright, there it is. There it is. I was gonna say, let's just put Jarvan down here at the end. Hopefully he'll get the flip before the combat's done. Otherwise, pretty straightforward. G? G. Alright. Let's see what we can do with the old Quinn Gwen. We got a mirror match, and then the Leona matchup isn't that great, but see how it goes. See if we can't get ourselves ahead. I mean, when it really comes down to it, the important thing in this matchup is having the proper skins. And if you haven't noticed, we got both the Star Guardians, right? We got our Star Guardian Quinn, our Star Guardian Gwen. If you look at the opponent, I mean, this is just basic stuff out here, right? He didn't pay to win with these. He just got regular modes out here, and so I don't know what old Savage was thinking when he was doing his deck building. I just don't know. I just don't know. Alright, let's see what he's got for us here. We don't really have to play anything this turn, right? We can just 2-bank into the next turn and then play the bird next turn. I don't necessarily want to be losing our units this round, and so think that's safe. I'll go ahead and take the block. We should be in a spot to where... Oh, has he got a +2/+2 here? That's crazy. I was going to say, we should be in a spot to where we can at least say open attack with Valor, get that 2 points of damage in, and then follow up with the Prodigy. I wanted to take the trade so we could kind of free ourselves up here a little bit. Boom. Get that big damage rolling through. Feels good, man. Feels good. Wow. Sure. Biggest Valor 2023 rolling through on this thing. How do we feel about the Husk? Like, if he drops a Gwen next turn with Overwhelm, that's pretty fucking scary, right? So let's at least make sure we get this Overwhelm Husk off of the board. If you hit like Impact or something, I can see I can see your arguments for not getting too involved, but I don't want to deal with a Quinn here, or a Gwen here. And no play. That's suspicious. I'll put our girl at risk. Just nothing? Wow. Wow. Does he just have a handful of like rallies and 6-drops or something? That's wild. Well, I'm going in. I'm going strong.
Scouting ahead.
Seems good to me. Do you just give up on this one?
Still heart, steady aim. Don't
Nothing to do?
force.
Hey man, Star Guardian skins coming at you. You learn your lesson. Learn your lesson from the pay-to-win master out here.
Now let's get back
Lessons learned. GG, my friend. Victory achieved. Alright, next battle. At least we're not going to goose egg this thing, right? No 0 wins for us. It's always a realistic possibility. It's there. It's there. That's tough. I wish I had a little bit more experience with some of these decks. Like, I feel really good with the Udyr Jarvan deck. We've just played a ton of it over the past few days. But like with that previous game, I was curious if maybe we should have just banked the mana on turn 2, or I'm sorry, just played the Redeemed Prodigy on turn 2 and then open attacked on the following turn. One of those spots where I'm a little shaky with these things and I need to get a little bit more experience with these decks. But as this board stands, we've got the Leona deck. We're going to ban it out. We'll play the Mirrors against Gwen if we have to. And then Action Varus I feel pretty decent against. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I'm curious if, I don't know, I don't want to say behind the meta because I do feel pretty good about Jarvan Udyr, but it's one of these things to where you'll run into this spot once you start to get up into the higher ranks of masters, as to where it takes a bit of time for the technology to filter down to the kind of general masses, and so it's like it's tough for me to get myself in a mindset to where if I'm, say, playing in like a Mastering Runeterra Open, I need to be like current with what's happening in Masters. That's what you're going to see. But I feel like when you jump into an event like this, it's going to be about like a week behind. And so I was really expecting to see a lot of like Samira Fizz and then see a lot of the Leona deck. But again, that kind of put us in a spot to where we just get to ban out Leona and then have the good matchups across the board. But leading off with the fam. It's all about family, yo. Crank up the NOS, hit the diesels and stuff. See what we can do. Right, up against Action Varus. That's not a good start. We need some dudes. Some cheapos, please. A little better. Got this sweet Demacia board out here. I went for it, you know. I knew we were playing 3 Demacia decks across the squad, so I brought the Demacia board across our whole team. I feel like it was a pretty good decision. I don't know how you feel about the matter, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure it was a good way to go about it. Let's see what happens here. If he plays Action, it's kind of unfortunate. I think we just have to pass at this point and go for the Badger Bear. We don't really get anything out of the Vulpine Wanderer here. We can make up for it a bit on turn 4 when we'll have access to a little bit more mana. I'm thinking about going ahead and just dropping the Aegis on our bear. Like, he's not going to block it here, I don't think. I mean, maybe he does block with the Bakai, but he's going to be a little bit safer. I like him being in this potential spot next turn to where he can take like a 2 damage hit this turn and then block a Bakai and also single combat down action and be fairly safe across the whole way. Alright, so now we're going to have a 4-3 tough, so the idea is he's probably going to re-equip the Bakai, but we can still fight through all this again, right? If we single combat action, it's 1 damage. If we single combat or fight against a 2 attack Bakai, it's 2 damage. Eventually kills our dude, but he's starting to get to the better spots. So this is tough. Like, I really like kind of eyeballing the plan of getting a Broadwing on board, and then next turn putting the regenerate stance on it. Like, we could potentially play Inner Beast this turn. Let's add the bird and see what he does. Like, I'm not entirely convinced he attacks with action. I could see a grappling hook coming in from the Dark Enthrall or something, but curious how much we actually have to worry about here. Alright, so let's pick up our trick. Our bear should survive, right? It's got 1 health left over.
I will end their cyclical war.
Now we can try and take down action with a stance or however we want to go about it. I'm not entirely certain if this deck is going to play cards like Quicksand. Oh shit, we can't. We need another dude if we want a boar stance. But I'm not entirely certain if this deck plays cards like Quicksand. Quicksand's a real pain in the butt here if he's got it, but not certain. Then the thing to kind of think ahead towards here is if we really want to get the big dad attack next turn, we need to play Jarvan on this upcoming turn. And I'm not entirely opposed to that. Jarvan does have a lot of potential power in the face of Varus. Another fair question here is if we just pass, right? If he doesn't do enough to, like, if he just lets us build up board and not attack, just send it back to him, I think that would have been okay. Getting a little nasty with this action over here. We'll give him the chance. Well, we don't even have to give him. We can do this. Let's send it all. If he's got Quicksand, we're going to get blown out, but I worry that we're going to fall too far behind with the way this board's set up. Alright, that was positive. The Bakai, sure thing. All the card draws. You should have a pretty choice hand at this point. Hitting a lot of predicts along the way. Alright, so we're gonna play Jarvan. We'll have to see what he does. If he just open attacks, it's kind of fair to just throw away a Broadwing or something. Oh, he just goes Zolani. Wow, wow. How does this attack look? We can kind of think of this in terms of, like, what if we don't play the king next turn, but then we look to... I don't think I want to go that route. I was going to say, like, we can choose to say, like, not play the king next turn and then do AoE stance, so we do 1 damage to everything and kill the Zolani, but I think this is okay here. If we're going to still plan on playing the king, we can just take a good hook into Zolani next turn and not worry about it. Like, we just throw away our worst unit. I feel pretty decent about there being no quicksands. Like, I know that he's predicted twice since then, but you know, we don't want him quicksanding away our barrier. That's going to feel pretty bad. Uh, doesn't seem like that should be in order. Oh, and he just passes? Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. We pick up a combat trick. Sweet.
Our enemies will know fear, Father. Teach them respect, and perhaps peace will follow.
Teach them respect, perhaps peace will follow. So true, man. So true. Oh, we're gonna get the good attacks. He says, I don't have anything. I ain't got nothing, my dudes.
Bring them here.
Appreciate it.
Protect the faithful.
Alright, here comes the squad. Unforgiven Cold's not bad. Do we wanna play a catch out here? We're gonna come in for like a little bit of strikes. Right, my intent with this follow-up is I want to send the Badger Bear into Zolani. We're gonna send the Broadwing. He's gonna take down the king. How does this work? We send our Badger Bear into Zolani. We send our remaining bird into action. Then we still have Jarvan on board after that. Okay. Okay, I say. Okay. And we are at this point to where we can look to say overwhelm stance Jarvan, and then next turn Jarvan's going to generate the cataclysms. We can then, from that point, try and do overwhelm damage with our. Try and do overwhelm damage with the cataclysm. Nice. Right, he gets to pop that Warlord's Horde next turn. Thankfully, the action's all gone at this point. Oof. Scary stuff, though. It feels like we got a positive space here, but he's about to. He goes for the draw 2. He could play like a million cards on this turn. I'm a little scared. A little scared. I'm just kind of eyeballing with this 8 mana. We can play the Wander, the Cataclysm, and the Overwhelm stance. And then on the next turn, we can look to just attack and get a kill. If we have a Zolani on the board, that might take us somewhere. How much do we have to worry about this? So the fun thing with this is if he's got a spell shield, right? We can Cataclysm into the Varus, and then the Jarvan still just attacks. He just doesn't hook the Varus into combat. So we might be able to pull something off with that. It's just like, with a hand like this, I don't think we're going to have time to do everything. So maybe we need to do this. Maybe we put the Aegis onto Jarvan, and then we line up a 2-spell turn to where we can either Cataclysm or single combat and get this Varus off the board. He's a realistic shot of just outright killing us, and so I want to try and get this dealt with.
We have waited so long, Zolani.
And now peace is just moments away.
I think this is all okay. He can still do some nasty stuff. All his cards are on the cheap this turn. The thing I kind of like about this is if we need to, if something weird happens here, then we still have the Inner Beast. And so it's like if we attack, he says, Okay, I'm going to spell shield this. Our Jarvan still comes out in the middle. I'm going to block with Zolani. We can Inner Beast through it because we got the tough we need.
Let me in.
Alright, you're alive, my friend. You're alive. Not dead yet.
There's a price to pay.
Alright, see if we can't do something cool on this turn. Again, it's kind of a scary spot, you know? It's a little scary. I don't want to tip our whole hand here, but we gotta try and get something going. I think I'm pretty confident we're at the point to where if we don't win the game this turn, we're just dead. And so I think we have to kind of go through everything we can to try and win the game right now. There's no getting to next turn. And so I think we want to go for the overwhelm. We want to Cataclysm before we do a regular attack. We don't want to be in a spot to where he just doesn't have any dudes on the board and we can't Cataclysm. And so we want to keep that in mind as well. So let's lead with this Cataclysm here. Put it in front of his bigger unit first. I think that's going to end us. We're not going to have the mana to get out of this. Oh, you can do this, right? Does single combat work here? It better. It better. If it doesn't work, then we're hosed. Oh, he's got something else? Come on. Come on. Delightful case of the have-em-alls. On. I guess you can't be too surprised. He's got like a million cards in his hand.
Gonna find a gift for Renekton, right, Arda?
What a bummer, dude. What a bummer. Well, if he tries to get overly clever next turn, we might still find our way out of this, but I don't suspect this is gonna go well for our team. Keep Jarvan at home. At least the spell shields are gonna fall off, so if he tries to do this thing to where he hooks Jarvan out of combat, like we can single combat down to Varus. So we're not completely done for here. We got some answers to what's going on. And then if he plays a card, we get to Cataclysm. We can be nasty. Yeah, run that timer down. Dude's taking too long. Look at that. He's down in the negs. Alright, let's see how else people can try and get out of this. You getting Nosdormude, my dude. Timer's running through. Alright, Fam Jam, not dead yet. Not dead yet. Do we want to end up trying to use the Cataclysm this turn? We'll see. I guess we can see what turns up. We don't have the mana to get like a really good one. Yeah, we're not going to get to play it.
Aatrox, where are you?
Timer amount game. Look at these people taking too long. Ooh, wow. That was a high effort Zolani to get on the board.
This is our Vay.
Well, see what else we can do here. We currently have 6 damage on board, a potential 2 damage in hand. That gets us up to 8. We gotta see. Yeah, more single combats. I mean, we don't have good ones with this. It's just like one of these ones I wish we'd draw, like a Darkened Spear would have taken us so far in this game. Alright, pass and see what he does. We can at least kinda manage this board. If he adds another unit, might get a good challenge a little bit later on. I'm kind of leaning towards it's kind of a double-edged sword here in the sense that we need the overwhelm stance as a means to uh, like deal the damage, but I feel like we're probably going to need a Jarvan to survive against the Zolani. Like I guess like we could think about what if we say put overwhelm stance onto Jarvan. Jarvan hooks the keeper, survive that, and then next turn we just try and single combat away the Zolani. I think that's where the magic's gonna be. He's just gonna get another Zolani on board though. Even worthwhile at this point. I mean, I really like seeing the Darkened Bloodletters hit the board. You can't hit us with Zolani if you're gonna use the Darkened Bloodletters. And we gotta kill this Fleet Feather Tracker. So just hook it with Zolani and get the kill on us. Shit, as it stands, we're probably just dead, right? No, we can block the Zolani with our 2/2. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to top deck here. And Varus? Man, we're just out here drawing Fleet Feather Trackers at this point and trying to put up with all this shit? That's insane. God. Why not draw some more cards? Jesus. Okay. I don't know, man. I feel like with that one, I know it's like you get a couple of predicts and you get a couple of card draws, but our late game did not turn up. So this is what worries me now. Like the Gwen Quinn matchup is not particularly good for either of the decks we have left. I feel like it's one of those spots where we really need to beat action so that we get 2 shots at this deck, because this is not a good matchup. So see what we can do. See what we can do. Hang on to this Broadwing, see if we can't find an equipment or a cheaper dude to go with it. Found all of those things. Oh, I guess we didn't find a dude. Found most of those things. Alright, birds in. Give me some of those stats. Kind of interesting spot. You can kind of catch these Gwen decks off guard on occasion, and they'll let you just AoE their whole team with the Inner Beast. I don't think we're quite at that spot yet. I'm kind of eyeballing being able to put the Regenerate stance onto the Broadwing, but you can most certainly get them. They don't always pay enough attention to that kind of thing. If he attacks in, you gotta worry about a hate spike here, right? That would be the scary card. If he attacks with Gwen, we block with the Badger Berry as the hate spike. Alright, well let's just move into the next turn before he's able to get too scary on us. So we're going to give the bird the bonus. That's going to put the stance in hand. We'll follow up with Udyr. Now Udyr gets to be he gets to come in and cheapen up the stance swap. Now I'm looking to put the regenerate stance onto the bird. Now we should be able to send the bird into Gwen. And then if there's another space where he has a hate spike, we still have catch in our hand. We can catch the bird and Should even be able to just catch a Darkened Aegis onto it and it'll keep the same amount of health and pick up Tough. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm bringing the squad. We're ready for combats. I don't know if that's positive or if that's negative. That's I'm fine with the missed call. I understand that kind of play, but that's an interesting way to see that go down. Now, this is another spot to where we can look. We can see if we can potentially stance swap and kill off his whole team. I assume he's probably going to open with Valor, but if he puts another dude on the board for whatever reason, we got this option to just kill all his shit, which is pretty nice. Hallowed 3. Okay. I think we want to do this. Do we want to do this on Udyr? I mean, as it stands, we're just like our blocker is going to be the Badger Bear, right? It's probably not capable of ever surviving a Gwen attack. And then I'm kind of eyeballing this turn as being like, well, we got a Darkened Aegis. We can put the Aegis onto Udyr and then try and fish fight. Maybe we just fish fight before combat even starts, right? He's only got 1 mana left now, so we could say fish fight into Gwen. He's got to get to kill whatever he wants to kill with this Valor. There's nothing we can do about that. But kind of like that. If we just burst speed, take down Gwen, or not entirely burst speed, but say we catch Udyr, give him the equipment, fish fight the equipment back to our hand, and take down the Gwen. Right, he can pick and choose what he kills now. He's got Hallowed 7. This Valor's gonna be doing work. I bet it's the Broadwing, but I'm okay with any of it. Then we have to see if we can't just get a kill with an Overwhelm stance here. We've played 2 stances at this point, so Udyr is getting primed and ready to flip. How do we want to go about it? Like, it feels like he has to be the way, right? We can just lead off with the fish fight. This deck usually doesn't play combat tricks. I mean, we don't play it. You'll occasionally find like a 1 of or a 2 of combat trick, but it's not super common. Let's be on. Okay.
What do you see, boy?
Probably going to be short of punching through this. At this stage, I'm just kind of like thinking of adding in the Aegis. We can protect ourselves next turn with Harsh Winds, and then try and actually get a kill on the following turn. How big is this Udyr, though? Right?
The wind waits for none.
Knows we've got this, so it's not that big of a deal to Oracle Eye it. He's 11, so that should overwhelm for 9. Okay. There he is. Summon him good. Summon him hard. Get out of here and do that Udyr thing. The opponent's out here saying, the fuck did I just get myself into? The fuck just happened to me? I'm telling you, man. Nobody respects the Udyr Jarvan. Nobody respects it. Alright. Now the Aatrox Vayne into this other deck is not very good either. So we need a little bit of luck in this one. Hopefully they don't pick up their foyers or their nasty draws. we got? An Elkin and a Spear is at least a decent start. No reason to hold on to the Lodestone. We're not gonna have the time to kind of turbo up into Aatrox. No trades. Nothing to get in here early for. We'll pick up. We'll pick up over what or the tough soon enough. Bring in that hate spike. Go full greed mode. There's definitely an argument here to play the spear beforehand so he doesn't have, you know, total good targets for his stuff, but I think this is okay. Get some of these bonuses. Alright, I'll take the attacks where I can get them. Not excited about this foyer coming down this early, but take what we can get. Oh, the birds. Too many birds, man. I don't need those too many birds. I don't know about how you feel, but no, I don't think we need that many. See what he does. I'm fine with the trade anywhere. The way that this starts to suck though is if he has a Gwen in his hand, right? And so it's like we want to get better units on the board, but if he follows up with Gwen, we're gonna get domed. We don't have the mana to fish fight and do all this other stuff. I'm gonna pick up the amulet or the fearsome here. It gives us an opportunity to potentially attack through his board. And if he drops Gwen, we're kind of hosed. But you gotta have something go right in this matchup. All right. That could have been worse. Yeah, we got a bird. A little bit of an awkward turn if we want to get an equipment and the bird and everything else down. I think we'll just have to wait on the Broadwing. We'll start with the Blinding Assault, see if we can't get something nice happening there. I mean, we can also just try and look to see if this guy's willing to overbank a ton. He knows that we have the amulet in hand to potentially, you know, load up the bird and do a bunch of damage. But if we get him to overbank on 5 mana, that's huge. Doesn't go for it. It's tough. Like I want to get an equipment down, and I also want to be able to like fish fight Gwen. And so I think we got to go with the amulet. Maybe we'll get an attack in this round. Oh, definitely get an attack in this round. Okay, positive. Nope. That's what you gotta say as soon as she comes down. Oh, people, fuck. One of those people playing combat tricks, huh? God damn it. So close to being good. How much is this? About a fucking million? Alright. What a bummer, man. What a bummer. Everything was going so well until that. I guess we could have gotten a Broadwing down and then had the Broadwing able to hook Quinn, but that's tough. You know he's just gonna be like, LOL, here's my missed call. That's what would have been. That's what would have happened if we killed his Gwen. LOL. Look at this dumb card I have. Okay, Darkened Harp. Give us a little bit of hope, a little glimmer of something good. Hey, yo, give me that nugget. Give me that nugget of something good. God, that sucks, man. That was supposed to be so awesome. Relentless Pursuits. Oh my God, how bad is this gonna be? It's like he's gonna hate spike us 100%. Watch this. There's nothing we can do about it though. We just have to hook the Gwen and hope it goes well. Vengeance? Sure. I guess I'd prefer it to be Vengeance to hate spike, but we're just no, we're not just dead. We can block, but then we'll be just dead next turn. What a bummer. Man. Alright. I guess we can draw harsh. No, we'll just die to the snips. You harsh winds through the snips anymore? I can't remember. Got this handful of fucking equipment. Of course, there's Aatrox a day late and $1 short. Man. Dumb set of games. Like, no disrespect to Dust 2680, but I feel like if we played that match like 100 times, we'd win at like 85% of them. Alright, though. On to the next one. Continue forward. That's the way the brutal brawls are, right? The ruthless rumbles, the reckless rallies. You're not getting out of these things unscathed, man. Not getting out unscathed. Whew. I wonder what the chances are we just re-queue into that guy. I took a small break between round 1 and round 2. I'm curious if these are going to get spread out. I mean, I'm fine to queue into the person. I don't want to queue into the lineup. Alright, what do we got here? The more control-esque lineup. That's completely fine. I'm gonna ban out the Sentinels. That's what this Jace Caitlyn deck is to the right. I'm fine to take all of our decks up against Set, and I'm fine to take them all up against Seraphine, and so take the Jace deck out. The Jace deck is the only one that has real removal spells in it. Alright. See what you can do, Udyr. No one believes in him, man. No one believes. Oh my god, this hand sucks. Oh my god, this hand sucks more. This is not the start you're looking for. Yeah, give us something cheap. Something to do. We can make it to like turn 3, turn 4 and not have stuff to do, but it's not ideal. Guy, there's a unit. There's a person ready to ready to salvage our day in some way. I guarantee you, here's what's gonna happen. I'm almost certain our draw next turn is gonna be Fleet Feather Tracker. You just wait and see. Watch it. See it, soak it in. That's the way my life goes. Close, Badger Bear. At least go ahead and get him on board. We can be a little bit more efficient with this. We can play the Badger Bear and put the Darkened Spear on it. If it gets popped by a heavy metal, it's not the end of the world. Alright, Badger Bear, we're asking big things of you, my dude. Getting the takedown on Jack, not a bad start. Next turn, we still have this mana, right? So next turn we can play the Combat Cook in single combat, and then on our next attack token we can open and hit with Jarvan. There's the bird, right? There's the bird. Interesting. Alright, I'll take the bait. Teach me a lesson. Interesting Scout Rake. If you're not familiar with this interaction, you can attack with the Scout unit, and then Jarvan will come out, and then you get to re-attack with Jarvan. You get to attack with him twice, so it's a pretty good deal. Still curious if we're going to see a heavy metal come in or not. But with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and add the Fleet Feather Tracker to the board. Under normal circumstances, the Fleet Feather Tracker wouldn't get the Challenger in time, so it's just going to be a bad attacker. But with the sequence we're about to take here, right, we scout, Jarvan comes in, the bird gets the Challenger. Things look pretty cool. Really lucky to dodge a heavy metal there, though. You got something fun coming in. I don't mind if we end up, say, like losing Jarvan for the turn. The big thing we're gonna try and pull off next turn is cataclysming the combat cook, so we get an additional attack. See if that rolls its way through. What you doing with that 2 mana? Nothing? Come and get it. Right. He overdraws a Mystic Shot. Perhaps the turns have tabled now. Perhaps. We can get out of this, right? There's a bit of argument to say, like, cycling the equipment. So say maybe that's what we should have done. So it's like, say we put a Darkened Spear, recover the health, put the Scout back on him or onto another unit. We could have put the Scout onto, say, Jarvan and then Cataclysmed from there. But I think this is still okay. Coins into Rummage. He's digging. He's digging for it. He has to feel unfortunate that his overdraw for the turn was Mystic Shot. Has to feel unfortunate. Demacia! Well, we at least got the rally for the round. Piece 1 of the puzzle unlocked. Or Jarvan. Let's go ahead and single combat. The way we're going to end up spending our mana for the turn is just playing the Badger Bear. And so this gives us another angle of attack. He has to be able to stop 2 of our units at this point. We do it? Are we in there? Seraphine turning up. Boo. Boo. Gotta block, though. Oh my gosh, she doesn't have to block. Doing warning shots and stuff? The F is this? Oh, she's gonna flip, I see. Oh, that's savage. Oh my god, what a sequence, man. All from 1 mana off of the coins? Oh, that's fucking insane. Insane. Just doing more shit. Oh my god. How does he even have the mana for this? Insane. Alright. Oh my gosh, who saw that coming? Fucking nobody. Wow. How do we feel about Jarvan at this point? The thing to kind of think with Jarvan is we go into the next turn, right? Just I don't really feel like we can even win the game at this point anymore. Like, we have 2 options here, right? We can put the Rake onto Giral, and then use Giral to make the opposing attack, or the opposing spells kind of suck. Should be fairly tough to kill a Giral since he has tough and the additional stats. Other thing we could potentially look to do is just open, have Jarvan hook into Seraphine, and then next turn play the king. The king. Oh no, the king won't draw Jarvans. Okay. Fucking A, man. I wasn't kidding when I said this shit was gonna be a ruthless rumble. This has been insane. Alright, let's see what happens now. Double aftershocks. Yep. Alright, well, we're counting on you. You gotta get in there, Badger Bear. You gotta get this Seraphine off the board. He's just gonna play a shitty unit. Oh, we just dead? What are the chances we're just dead? I bet they're fucking high. Yep. Insane, man. Insane set of games. Alright, though. I hope we had fun with that one. Let's move on to this next match. Fucking wild. I'm trying to think of how that sequence could have gone any worse. That's ultimately like I think a lot of the frustration that you're gonna find with Seraphine. Like I'm honestly really surprised that the back alley bar didn't get rotated out. It's one of those cards that's extremely problematic, kind of across the board. But that's the kind of thing you're going to see is the back alley bar comes in and generates some shit, and Seraphine generates some shit, and it's like at what point are you supposed to, realistically give up on trying to play around what your opponent can do? Fucking wild. Okay. But I mean, if it makes us feel any better, we didn't play anything for the first 3 turns of the game. That's extremely uncommon to have happen, and was quite a bit of our downfall there.
It isn't about who's better. It's about the coin.
About the coin. No kidding, it's about the coin. I'm leaning towards the spear with this one. I kind of like just want the bonus stats so that our units are a little bit less susceptible to mystic shots and high notes.
Step into the ring. Thank you. Thank you.
Whew, man. Alright, Jarvan's ready to party. Take a bit of damage, it's not that big of a deal. Looking at this space, I just want to get draw on the board, and then we'll open next turn with Jarvan. Can't do anything about that. But our Jarvan should flip on this next turn, and that'll give us the Cataclysm for the next turn. Had to pay the Stony Suppressor price on the tag out, if you will. a little bit more expensive for opponent there. Take what we can get. Unfortunate, we're a mana short of. Oh, we're not gonna have Cataclysms next turn. Our Jarvan didn't flip. I was gonna say it would have been really cool if we had the mana to play the king, get the scouts on our units, and then Cataclysm for the rally. Don't quite have the means to pull that off. What are we doing this round? Are we gonna harsh winds or are we gonna single combat? Leaning towards the single combat. He doesn't currently. Excuse me, he doesn't currently have the mana to really get away from this. So let's see how it goes. You need to single combat the Set before combat happens, though. I've made this mistake many a time, as to where you let Set get into combat and you try and kill him with a burn spell, and then he just gets the barrier at 1 health. You gotta watch out for that nonsense. Alright. So our Jarvan's gonna survive. I was a little bit worried there, in that if we do win the single combat, and then our Jarvan's just hanging out with 1 health, you really have to worry that he's just gonna pop him with a Mystic Shot. But not the case here.
Our eyes lead to hidden paths.
I'm just gonna load the board up with everybody.
Our enemies will know fear, Father. Teach them respect.
I don't know. Maybe we should have held on to the Wanderer, knowing that we have this second Jarvan in hand. There's a lot of potential for good shenanigans on the next turn, right? That same idea to where we play the King and then hit a Cataclysm. We're bound to hit a Cataclysm at this point, it feels like.
With the spirits.
Alright, I'm going for big damage mode here. I feel like we probably need to not worry about these smaller units and then just punch in with the big ones. His spells are going to cost 4 more mana this turn. I don't suspect there's too much more that's going to be coming in here.
Then we fight again!
It's a fairly challenging space to get around. How many coins we got now? 5? What did we forget to play around? What did we forget?
The kingdom is
All right.
secure, my people safe.
Whew. Well, take it to game 3, see what we can do. Hydrate a little bit, jump on in. What do we got here? Not the greatest of starts. We'll hang on to the Phantom Butler. Look for some more of our cheaper plays. Really like to find a foyer. There it is. Off to the races.
Another guest. Wonderful.
This is that spot again. Well, it's a little different here because we want to get all the units on board this turn. We kind of run into a spot to where I'd like to have been able to open attack with the Valor in the event that he's going to have
It isn't about who's
in the
better,
event that he's
it's
going
about
to
the
have
coin.
a big unit.
Very good.
But reasonable enough spot. We'll just attack with the Butler, see if we get the takedown. Because then on the next turn, if he declines to block here for some reason, we can still play the foyer and try to hate spike the Professional away. So we miss out on the attack with the Prodigy, a bit of a bummer, but still have a lot of opportunity here.
Coin buys drink or news. I've got both.
A bummer. People being nasty, yo.
Hey, not
Got elusive.
bad.
Elusive definitely puts a little interesting twist on what's about to happen. Lead with the bird. I don't suspect we're gonna get good usage out of the bird, but let's play it first and see if he spends any mana here. And then this is a summon, not a play. So playing Valor's not going to eat the Fading Husk. Worth keeping note of there.
There's so much to see. Where do I start?
Madam.
I shall need my tool.
Recombat Rift does mean we get the extra Hallowed, so our Redeemed Prodigy is going to be big enough to take down the Mixologist. A little sad to not getting nearly as much damage, but might be able to pop off here. Then we do have this Mist's Call in hand, so if he does something on this upcoming turn to kill our Gwen, then we got some opportunities to get her back.
I'm the boss.
Like this.
That's all there is to it.
Maybe when this set comes in. I guess the downside is she is going to she's going to lose out on elusive. She doesn't really need it, but it is nice to be able to slam in for that extra damage.
Demacia needs heroes.
Demacia needs heroes, bro. Need them good. Team Star Guardian out here. Now, you do have to take a little bit of note of what Pig Dog Man is doing. You note he's already up in Masters. He's a reasonable Runeterra and a reasonable, what are you, a summoner? Is a summoner what you are in these things? Note what he's doing. He's got both of the skins on board, and so you know he knows what's up. So this ain't my first rodeo. It's in my first party. I've battled before. Alright, well I'm gonna add in the second bird, see if we can't start getting some extra damage in. He's already played the one Caustic Rift, so I don't really want to have to worry about the second one. Now ideally we'll get these big strikes in. I'm not gonna play around combat tricks. I'm gonna go for the big damage here, the big lethal. Does a bounce spell? Tag out, tag in, tag up, high note, and tag out. Alright. So we'll still get an extra attack on the turn. We lose our bird, sad, but other bird doing its thing. Now hopefully these relentless pursuits will be enough to take us through. He's gonna want to say like place set. We're gonna attack around. Even have any mana left? How many coins does this dum-dum still have? He's out of mana. Okay, we're free to win the game.
You, me, in the ring.
Why is he all shiny looking? Oh, he's flipped. Okay, so we'll take down the Gwen. We'll play our other Relentless Pursuit. We'll hook the set off to the right. Then Quinn will come in for the full amount of damage.
Still heart, steady aim.
Egg 8 into 5.
Reinforce.
GG. Oof. The Ruthless Rumble. The ruthless battles. The brutal battles.
Now let's get back.
Whew. The atrocious actions. How many names we got for these things? Nonetheless, GG, taking it down at the end of the day. Right. Man, you only get 2 losses in these things? I didn't realize that. It's the same guy? Who we got here? Not the same guy. Reasonable lineup, I guess. We can ban out the Ashe. Again, we're fine to play against Set Karma. That's not that big of a deal. The Samira Varus is typically an OTK deck. I think it's probably fine to play against as well. But again, that Ashe deck is the thing we don't want to be seeing. All right. Nobody banning Udyr. Nobody brings the respect. Fortunate, man. Fortunate. What do we got going on here? I don't think this is the kind of space where we want tons of Petricite Chargers. Like, is a hand like this just too slow? If we kind of think of how this is going to sequence to where the opponent is on the odds and kind of having their way with us before the third turn of the game, maybe it's okay. I worry about falling behind a little bit and then him being able to have an easier OTK. So I'll take a touch of a mulligan here. Right, I was thinking in terms of like the units that's going to come out of the Cultist. He's probably playing all the Bakai. There's a handful of 2-drops. Like if he goes Cultist into or like say like cultist Samira and then a open attack on turn 3. How bad is that? I mean, this isn't super ideal. The hit on the Bakai is kind of tough, but hopefully we can recover after this initial burst. Hookmaster. He is playing the all-in on the OTKs, huh? I don't think you typically play Hookmaster unless you're going for the
Sometimes you're the fish,
the
sometimes
overwhelm
you're the bait.
equipment. See what happens. Good draw with the Wanderer. Let us single combat in here if we need to. You gonna open?
I excel at making heads turn and roll.
Let's see how this shakes out. We're gonna try and take down the Hookmaster and the Samira for the turn. I mean, if he's gonna hook the Broadwing, I suspect that's what he would go for. Well, maybe he does try and hook the Broadwing with the Hookmaster so he can put the equipment onto somebody else. Yeah, there you go.
Come on, where's the competition?
Now we can do this thing to where next turn we play the Vulpine Wanderer and get the regenerate stance and regenerate stance the Broadwing. I'm little interested. I'm not big interested. It's gonna kind of depend on what he plays here. Oh shit, we're mana short of that anyways. I guess I'm less interested than I was. But the thing to kind of keep in mind with that is, you know, you want to untap with it. I don't want to go into the opponent's turn and then have them be the one that's ready with the
Not even I know what I'm cooking up.
have them be the one that's ready with dealing with like the 1 health unit that we're super loaded up on. You really want to be starting your turn with it so it's a little bit safer. But reasonable enough combat cook. He's bigger than the Forsaken Bakai. I don't think this is a kind of spot to where we're willing to just pass. That doesn't strike me as awesome. Let's just go ahead and spend the mana here, see what we can make happen. Okay. Why? Did he play the wrong card, or what did he do? Why would you put the spell shield onto his guy? Huh. Interesting.
The box bestows for a price.
Are we being too cute with the Vulpine Wanderer?
Kip and I will scout ahead.
Let's add it, see what happens. Like, is he gonna do put a ballista on it? That would be what I would think to be the next reasonable play. 6 and 5,000 makes a little sense, I guess. Went quick attack, right? Oh, he went ballista. Interesting. Why? I mean, I guess he doesn't really need the health at this point, right? He's at 20. He's not gonna lifesteal anything.
Merely a vessel.
Keep on grinding. That's weird. Yeah, he's got flares and stuff. Like, I guess our units aren't that high value, but I don't know. That's so weird to just put the ballista down and not the quick attack.
Yes, a weapon to cut through the shadows.
A weapon to cut through the shadows. there you have it. And so I think most definitely this turn we're looking to stance swap Combat Reel and Vulpine Wanderer. We need to start kind of saving these single combats for the next turn. He's going to look to blow up on us with Might. So
Patience costs
I definitely want to make sure we have the mana for the single combat. If we make a play with the bird, great. If we don't, then that's fine as well. We're not super invested in making him do something special here.
I will end their cyclical war.
No, we need to attack now if we're going to try and take this thing down. Like, I'll trade our unit for a might, right? I'm okay with that if he wants to spend a might, but if he gets the opportunity to put, like, the Fix Him 5000 and shit onto the Lunari Cultist, I'm not dealing with that. We need to take it down right now, or he's going to get the chance to upgrade this thing, and then we can't kill it. Look at that bird. Look at all these things on the bird. Ooh, definitely feel good now with the harsh winds. That's definite good for us. Make him attack. He's already played the Shadow Fiend. If he just passes the turn to us, that's a gigantic win. All right, card played. Pass. He's definitely attacking now, right? Most certainly is. Play some more gems on this Shadow Fiend, right? Oh, he's doing it. Oh, man. He's definitely coming in with something. Oh, just, that makes sense. Going after our bird.
Our teeth they will see.
Alright, I think we'll just pass. I'm like 100% playing a Naka next turn. So, I think that's the safer way to go about it. I think to me it should have been a little more obvious. We were talking about the likelihood of a quick attack challenge play, and probably should have just taken our bird up to 9 health, but we didn't do it. And I would much prefer to still have that harsh winds in our hand, right? It seems like we're starting to build up this overwhelming advantage, but there's still a real chance that we just get killed by a Varus or something, and so I'm not amped with the state of the game, if you will.
I will surpass these mortal constraints.
What do we got here? Oh, Fleet Feather Tracker coming through. All right, all right. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're okay here. He's only got a couple of cards in hand. It's tough for him to really build up and take down a considerable portion of our board. It would be scarier if he still had that spell shield in hand, though. He misclicked or did whatever to put that on the board. Might as well try and take down the Varus, right? How wrong could this go? Ooh, Whirling Death. Whirling Death is pretty good. Down the bird, keeps him with Varus, but He's only got a gem and a thing in hand, and so a gem and an equipment in hand. So I think we're okay. He's gonna need to pick up like a card draw spell for next turn to try and get out of this. Pan of Pain, Darkened Ballista, fix him in the gym. Is he gonna go for the Neganaka? Naganika?
Your will crumbles so easily.
Okay, this isn't lethal, right? We dead? Did we slop this up enough to die? No, we're just losing out on our Anaka. Okay.
We deliver their end.
We fall to 4. Ah, this is so dangerous. So we're definitely playing Jarvan, right? We're gonna play Jarvan and pick up the youngster. Do we ever have a way to build a lethal next turn? It seems pretty unlikely. Like we're definitely not doing it off of an open attack.
Remember me.
Alright, we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Get up to 11 with the combat reel. Yeah. We gotta have 6 mana for our bro. That leaves us with 7 for this other stuff, and we did just pick up the second Jarvan, which is gonna give us a chance to. It's gonna give us a chance to like cataclysms. There's nothing that ever kills us here, though, right? Not, at least not at burst speed, or he can't overwhelm us here.
How will they act? How will I respond?
Aganika comes in. We're gonna look to hit it with a cataclysm.
Vista Spirit.
Let's go ahead and attack. Oh, Jarvan's gonna hook the Naganika. I was intending on just killing Varus here. We'll have to do that on the follow-up with the Cataclysm. Then if he takes too much damage, we can do the same thing with Overwhelm Stance, where we Overwhelm Stance the Jarvan and send him at a unit. Try and get the kill that way. What's that last card, yo? What could it be? Let's put it on board so we know if we can win, right? just slap it on the board, please. Perhaps they realize they've already lost. Put tough on the wrong unit. Right, as it stands, we can Jarvan into Varus and hit for Exacties. All right, out of mana now. Should be enough for us to take this one down. Oof. I don't know, fam. That was a tough one. You gotta believe in your Udyrs. Believe and achieve. Udyr can get it done. I don't like how we played that, right? It's like I know in my head as I think about these games, you don't really want to be playing your removal spells until the turns they're trying to OTK you. And we probably shouldn't have let our, like, gameplay wise, we shouldn't have let ourselves get into that spot to where he's able to just get that big Varus attack in uncontested, right? And so if we have like a single combat to try and take him down, then great. But I don't want him to be able to do that just freely, right? Without us being able to throw anything at it. Alright, we'll hang on to Quietus though. Reasonable enough start here. If we can't drop that Quietus on Samira. I'm really surprised we haven't seen as much Shadow Isles in this format given the prevalence of Samira.
To the dark within.
Quietus being a fantastic answer to her. Sure.
Merely a vessel.
I wonder if are there any like 3-drops that can really contest a redeemed prodigy? I don't think there are. I don't think there's too much we have to worry about. Like he can play a unit and trade with it. No. Apparently there is. There is one to worry about.
Into the abyss.
Dang. We're gonna find ourselves just passing on this next turn unless we find a cheapo. No real reason to drop a Green Fang Warden on this board. I guess there is now. Not at his best, but I guess if he gets to stop the attack here, and then we can try and Cataclysm him 2 turns from now, he'll still be around. Opponent probably doesn't have a way to remove it from the board.
What good is mercy?
There!
Why? There's no 0 mana tricks. Why would you do that?
Welcome,
Interesting.
one and all, to the Midnight Rebel!
You will obey your master as I do mine.
My goodness, what is all this?
The Midnight Rebel! And so we
So how bad can this turn go, right? You see him play the Shadow Fiend. We saw in the previous game that he does have Whirling Deaths in this deck, so we do have to worry to a degree about our Gwen dying, but we do also have Eternal Dancers in our deck, so she's capable of just bringing them right back. And so it's like, do we want to attack with Gwen to get, the little bit of level ups and get the snip in? I think it's safe enough.
Joy.
Right. Ultimately, it's like if we get a Whirling Death out of this, I feel like it's a pretty good deal, and then we're still getting 7 damage towards a Gwen level up. Whirling Death, yeah. But we got a pretty good Cataclysm now. Oh, ooh, it's not nearly as good, right? We don't have our Gwen anymore. I take that back. I take that nonsense away. Reject it, please. Reject it.
You will know our power. Be patient.
Need some good stuff to happen next turn. I'll look to just take a block this round with the Boisterous Host, but then next turn we're gonna need to start popping off, and so it'll be a little tough with how we want to do this. We have the option to, you can Cataclysm and Eternal Dancers, or you can try and do Relentless Pursuit kind of things. We definitely want to be getting 2 attacks out of the Eternal Dancers, though. So it's kind of like, as this board stands, we would want to be, say, Cataclysming the Eternal Dancers into the Fanatic, and that would bring back a Gwen for a turn. And then we could continue to make more attacks after that.
There's a price to pay.
You're wearing that?
Okay.
On to the next!
Yeah, not perfect by any means here. Be really nice if we had a foyer. Would be nice. I think this is safe enough. We'll just go ahead and challenge in on Varus. Should get a kill. If he's got an overwhelm, then or I mean if he's got a combat trick to take down the Eternal Dancers, then it would probably get taken down anyways off the Forsaken Bakai. And then if he where the fuck does this come from? Okay. Okay. Not bad. That's not bad, I'll give you that. Nice nice work, ambitious cultist. It's very ambitious of you to put that combat trick forth, or put the bounce spell forth. But don't think we can attack with the Green Fang Warden. It's just going to trade with his 2-1. He can send in the Eternal Dancers. Ideally, he can't kill it, but have to see. Yeah. Make a sad noise with me, fam. Make a sad noise. Alright. Our Gwen flips off of this, so if she... Oh, she not flip? Oh, it's 1 damage short. She was only a 7 attack. I think this one slipped away.
Jack said there'd be contenders out here.
It's tough when you don't have the the foyer. But got 1 card in hand. He doesn't currently have the tools for a lethal. Ideally, we can say just like it's tough. Like we want to block Varus and then play Glimpse from Beyond. But if he's got a target and his Varus flips, then he's gonna pick up Overwhelm. So I'm just gonna move it over 1. At least get the more guaranteed 5 damage prevent on the Fnatic. If he's got the Whirling Death, we're fucked either way, but this should ideally prevent more damage.
Beware those who have nothing to lose.
Right, this happened. So he's got Overwhelmed now. We would have just completely lost out on any damage prevention if we were in front of Varus. Yep, Coin's pretty good with Varus. Give him another thing. Sure. Whew, that's tough. That's tough. A little bit short the whole way through there. I don't know. I don't feel like that really came down to us losing our Gwen. Like, she wasn't in a spot to where she was going to be very survivable anyways. You know, I think it was pretty apparent shenanigans were about to be happening when you put the Shadow Fiend down, and it's in a pretty similar spot to where you can the same spells you can use to kill a Gwen with a Shadow Fiend you could just use with a Varus, and so I don't think we really missed out on anything there. Alright though, nice mulligan. Our friend Boisterous Host turning up right at the end of the day. Says, I am here to party. I am ready for it. Bad day. I thought we were here to party. Apparently not. Now we got all the birds. We're gonna have to be a little careful here. This hand is now garbage, right? This game is probably lost at this point. We're about to run into issues to where all of our guys just die to Caustic Rift, and like we haven't done fuck all this game. We don't have any Hallowed. Like we can't even take down a 3 attack unit since we haven't got any Hallowed at this point, and so there's not a lot that we can actually do.
We protect these woods as they protect us.
Get some little attacks in, but like we can't just be adding birds and trading double bird into Pit Professional. This is a hand that seemed so good at the start is just such a disaster with that single loss of a unit. I'll at least accept that Caustic Rift. Gives us that Hallowed we were looking for. so many cards behind doing this dumb shit though. Maybe this was a spot for a Mist's Call? It's like you can try and Mist's Call and coin flip onto the scout unit, but this sucks so much.
Thank you.
Alright though. See if we can't blinding assault into nothing. Oh my god, we are so fucked. Oh, that's brutal. For a hand that looked so good, it has gone so bad now. And just a hate spike? What are you supposed to do with this hand? What a painful set of circumstances. You play a bird and a Mist's Call to try and take down a set? Like... Alright. Look out, dude. Look out. I mean, maybe that was the angle. Maybe we needed to recognize just like how bad things were, and getting the barrier unit back would have at least been something, right? Like it could have gave us a chance to attack again, and maybe Cataclysm on the next turn or whatever. This is just fucking horrible. I don't know. It just the draw came together super weird here. Yeah. Alright. What a bummer of a game, man. That was no fun. Does that just knock us out of the event? What a sad way to go. Man, it can't end like that. You only get 2 losses in these things, don't you? What a bummer. Are these things just done? We can't play any more of these? Another run will be available tomorrow. Alright, well, we'll try another run tomorrow, I guess. And so, interesting set of battles. That was, man, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten kind of used to this grind over the past 3 or 4 days with the Udyr deck, and it feels like there's a lot of kind of like posturing and figuring things out, and the unknown quantities are kind of removed, and then just not so much the RNG today, but just playing like some of these matchups just felt pretty brutal. And I don't know, maybe it's just I've got that back alley bar matchup just kind of like lingering in the back of my head and how abysmal it was, and then playing that last game to where our draw was just fucking terrible, and it feels kind of meh. But it was a tough set of games. But I think at least here in terms of our lineup, we can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. Ultimately, I wasn't as happy with it as I wanted to be. Like with the Jarvan Udyr deck, I think this deck is a definite sleeper. I think this is something that definitely belongs in this format. Nobody plays it. I don't know if it's just because they don't know about it or if because they think Udyr's a meme or whatever, but I think this deck is actually seriously good, and we won like every time with it, right? I think we lost a game or two along the way, but all of our wins came from this deck, and so. It certainly belongs, and it's something that I feel, really confident in, and I'm really happy to bring to the table. In terms of these other ones, though, I don't like the sense to where we're turning up in some of these matchups and then not really feeling good about any of the picks and bans. And again, I'm not certain if it's just a matter of being used to the end at like the higher side of masters, and people are being at like right at the cutting edge of the meta, and so as we're playing against like the last 2 rounds, Pig Dog Man and Cacao, like those are some of the kind of top tier players. They're people up in masters already, they're familiar with these things, but if we're just kind of against the general public and we're going to be up against excessive amounts of these kind of Ash decks that are really popular right now, I don't think it leaves us in the best of spots. And so I think there's definitely some room for improvement here. I think Aatrox Vayne is a deck I like to keep. I still really like this idea of playing the decks that have all the fish fights and all the removal spells in it. I like the big unit aspects to it. I think a lot of it here is pretty positive, and I think that this is something that can stay. And I'm looking towards probably moving away, not from LeBlanc Ash, we aren't playing that. I'm thinking of probably moving away from Quinn Gwen. I think we need just like a little bit more variety in our lineup, and I just don't like a lot of the aspects of this deck. I think it's fine, it's powerful, but I think it's just one of those decks to where you're going to find a lot of matches to where if you draw the foyer, you win, and if you don't draw it, you lose. And I feel like there's just a lot of draws that don't come together on the back of a foyer not being there. And so uh, I think if the meta was kind of like more defined, then it's something we might want to carry on with. But I think this is the kind of like weak link in our meta here right now. And as kind of the last note before we take off, I think the last thing to kind of keep in mind with these things is I think we have to assume that the higher level players are going to be playing these dumb control decks, and so that's what another reason why I'm happy with Aatrox Vayne in that sense, since we do get to kind of build up to Aatrox and play cards like the World Ender. Like having access to the World Ender just kind of guarantees that you have access to great late game capabilities. A lot of those late game capabilities just come down to playing the Darkened Spear, anyways, and so I think I'm fine with this kind of deck, but you don't get that kind of longevity when you play something like Quinn Gwen, and Quinn Gwen tends to run into more of those games like we just saw in that last match, as to where the draw comes together a little bit awkward and we're never able to recover. To where if you think back to that back alley bar match, to where we didn't play a card until the fourth turn, and we were still quite capable of taking that game down. That opponent hit a ridiculous run of cards on the last turn of the game in their RNG to be able to take that game down, and we were right on the cusp of winning through absolute disaster. And you do get those recovery hands out of Aatrox Vayne. You do get those recovery hands um, out of the Udyr deck, but you don't get that out of Quinn Gwen, and that's my kind of upsetting moment with it. As you know, you're going to play against these decks that just try to stall until turn 10 and then combo kill you with Karma. You have to have something to where if the game goes slightly wrong, you can still recover. And I don't think that exists with Quinn Gwen, right? If you're able to just like, if you don't play a unit until the third turn of the game, and then they just say, oh, that's the hallowed unit, I'm not going to kill it, you just lose, right? Or if you have a draw to where, you mulligan into your turn 3 play as Greenfang Warden, you lose. And it doesn't have that recovery aspect that these other decks do. So I'm not certain if I want to look to switch over to Samira Leona. I'm quite happy with that deck as well. I have to kind of see how I feel about it, but I think Quinn Gwen is the one that's going to go. Nonetheless, good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that's going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.